I went skydiving, I went Rocky Mountain climbing, I went 2.7 seconds on a bull named Fu Manchu, and I loved it.
Hello fellow nature lovers, welcome to my show, Hanging with Billy. Today we'll be taking a journey through the woods. I'm going to show you some tips on what you should be doing in the woods and how to survive if you're ever caught in some sticky situations. Before we go in the woods today, I'm going to go over some things you should carry with you whenever entering the woods. Just some necessities so you don't get stuck in situations that you don't want to be in. So the first thing you gotta have that's essential is water. You can't go anywhere without water because if you're not around, if you don't have water in you for a long period of time, you could die. Next, we got matches. This is essential in nature. When using matches can be what keeps you alive or dead. If you're ever stuck in a situation where you need to stay overnight and build a fire, these will keep you alive. Next, we got our Leatherman. Leathermans can get you out of any kind of situation you need. These things have all kinds of different functions, can save you in many different ways and help you get out of the woods alive. And also, we do have a little extra food. We brought some, this is always a good idea when entering the woods, is to have a little snack with you just in case you are stuck for a longer period of time than you think. You have a little protein that you can eat, keeps you going for a little longer than you would initially planned on. Alright, so that's everything. I'm going to load my stuff back up here. And if you guys just want to follow me in, we'll get to it. So when you're traveling on the wilderness, it's good to have a certain set of clothing on. So like right now, because there are branches, poison ivy, I want to avoid that stuff. So I got on nice jeans and hiking boots. A lot of times up in Minnesota, the weather is not great and it can be really muddy and slippery. You want to get nice boots because if you slip and fall, you know, who knows what can happen. You could be in a whole lot of trouble doing that. Also, another good thing is to dress in layers because out in Minnesota, you know, we can get really warm days and really cold nights. During the day, if it gets too hot, you know, I'll take my shirt off, tie it around my waist. I got one on underneath this, and then at night it works great. It can keep me warm all through the night. So one thing you do have to really look out for when you're out in the woods is the wildlife. I mean, there's a lot of cool wildlife, you know, deer, all kinds of birds, but there are some that could be potentially harmful to you. You know, the raccoon, the gopher, the wood tick could all be very, very potentially harmful to you out in the woods. So one good tip for avoiding that is find a tree, a low tree, and if you do encounter one of these, to just sit up there and kind of wait it out and wait for it to kind of go away because it won't bug you if you're not bugging it, and you don't want to get into that kind of situation where you're encountering dangerous wildlife. So if you do encounter some dangerous wildlife, you know, the tree is a good option, but if you can't find a tree to climb up, another good option is just to play dead. You know, especially if you're dealing with the bear, the coyote, the wolf, you're not going to want to risk encountering them. And if you know you're playing dead, they're not going to bug you. Like I said, they're gonna leave you alone. They're not going to mess with you. So here's what that kind of looks like. So what you're going to want to do is get down, kind of on your side, kind of into a fetal position and cover your head. Just like this, and you're going to want to stay like that for till the creature is about 100 yards away or you lose sight of it. Then you can probably get up and continue your journey as usual, but you are not going to want to journey in the path that the animal just took because you're not going to want to encounter with that animal again. And what you're looking at right there, ladies and gentlemen, is known as poison ivy. In Minnesota, we have all kinds of different kinds of poison ivy. This one, you're going to recognize it by its rounded shape of the leaves and its very unique leaf shape. Poison ivy, you're not going to want to mess with it. You know, the right type of clothing will help you avoid it, but what poison ivy will do to you is it'll give you a terrible rash and hives. And when you're out in the wilderness, and if you do get lost and have to stay overnight, You're really not going to want to have to deal with the poison ivy rash. They are very painful, and if not treated, they can really do some bad damage to you. You know, out in these woods, there are a lot of broken trees and sticks everywhere. And I'll be honest with you, it's not uncommon to have some kind of injury to an ankle or maybe an arm from tripping or falling. And if this does occur, if you do trip and twist an ankle, it is best. You don't want to hurt it anymore, so it is best to stick put and try to set up camp from where you are. It's really not a fun situation if you do get hurt. But what you want to do is just stick put, set up camp, and wait it out until it starts to feel a little better, and then test it out, see when you can walk on it again, and then try to get to where you're going. So as you can see here, we have stumbled upon a previous used fire pit that someone has built. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to show you one of the essential tools to staying alive in the wilderness, and that is going to be a fire. If you're ever lost overnight, or need some kind of, are just out with your buddies, the best thing you can do is build a fire to stay alive. So we're going to show you how to do that right now.
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
Well, the party was nice, the party was pumping,
Hey, yeah.
and everybody having a ball until the fellas started name calling. And
This is where our matches are going to come in handy. We're going to light this baby up. So what we're going to do is light it from the bottom, and then it'll rise up and light the rest of the fire. And then once we get it going, we'll put a little more wood on top of that to get it burning consistently. Alright, here we go. So as you can see, we got our fire started here. It's not burning so well right now, but we can keep adding onto it and keep it going through the night if we needed to. Alright, so we've hiked about a mile in. So we've found a good spot to set up camp. Right here, it's kind of low, flat ground on top of a hill. So what that's going to do is if there's any kind of a storm today, any kind of rain comes down, it's not going to run down. It's going to run down the hill. It's not going to get you soaked. You're going to stay nice and dry. So as you can see, we have got a shelter here. So this is a really nice shelter because, as you can see, we got some overprotecting brush that hangs over us. So it'll stop out some of the rain. It is also very low into the ground. So if the wind does pick up, I will feel virtually none of it. I can stay pretty warm down here. It's relatively comfortable. So when looking for a shelter, the things you want to look for are things that will make you stay dry, like maybe an overprotecting tree or something like that. And also something that will keep you down from the wind. You want to make sure the wind's not getting to you, because on a cold night that can really hurt you. Also, you want to make sure you're not around any wildlife of any kind of danger. If you end up sleeping next to a raccoon at night, he's probably not going to be too happy and probably let you know that he's not too happy. So you want to check the area before you camp for the night. Make sure there is no wildlife around. So if you do decide to come out in the woods and go on a camping trip, there is always the good option of buying a tent. The tents can run a little spendy and also can be a little heavy to carry at times. So if you can't afford the funds, or you don't want to carry that kind of stuff, you can always keep the option open to just build a shelter. It's really not too bad to do. Usually you can find an old trough and just kind of dig it out, make it a little more comfortable for you. Yeah. So one of the major things I want to talk about today is getting out of trouble. If you're stuck in the woods and your cell phone goes lost reception and you have no way of getting out, you're completely lost. One really good option that you can do is build a brush fire. So what that's going to do is, it's just like building a regular fire, except you're going to use pine like this, like we have here. What this is going to do is it's going to create a lot of smoke. It's going to rise out in real thick smoke that's going to go for miles. And when people see that, they're going to recognize it and realize someone's down there and in trouble, and they'll go down and rescue you. So thanks for tuning in with us today. I hope you learned some great stuff about the wilderness and a lot about the safety and some of the dangers it can hold. I hope next time you go camping or you stay free from any kind of trouble. But if it does happen, if you do happen to encounter it, I hope you'll use my tips and stay safe.
Man, what'd you do? And he said, I went skydiving, I went Rocky Mountain climbing, I went 2.7 seconds on a bull named Blue Manchu. And I looked deeper and I spoke sweeter and I gave forgiveness I've been denying. And he said, someday I hope you get the chance to live like